It's the Dream Show live.
You're live.
10:30.
Parkway Automotive 10-ish. Heavy on that ish.
Yeah. Somewhere between 10 and 11. We usually do it. When we do it. Oh, hold on.
I even reminded him.
He told me to do that, and I just don't listen sometimes.
I try.
I'm not a good listener. Glad to be here, drinking my springtime artisan water.
What makes it artisan? What is artisan water?
It says it on the thing.
Is that what makes it artisan?
I guess in my opinion. I wouldn't have known otherwise. I would just say, oh, that's water. It's from the crystalline rock aquifer.
Since we're just plugging people.
I like water.
Water is the sustenance of life, is it not?
Like some odd 80% is what people say.
And we fired off. Seth's in the house here with some tents.
Tinted up
in
the place. Yeah, live Parkway Automotive Studios right here. Peach Podcast Syndicate doing the thing. Wandering Grappler, Isaac the Daily Stack.
What it do?
Blind Lincoln Productions, man of many AKAs. Myself, I usually just go by Steven. I really only have.
You don't even have a persona. The Dream.
That's it.
People know you as the Dream.
I guess it's only like online though, right? Nobody comes up to me and says like, "What's up, Dream?"
I think I've heard people refer to you, or you're like the Dream guy. When people are like, "Oh yeah, that guy." Like I've heard a few people.
Okay,
you're famous enough for that.
I'm not sure if that's good or worse. It is what it is though. But yeah, it is what it is at this point. It's been a branding kind of deal over the last for a while.
Riley says the sustenance of life was Monster. Like
the energy drinks?
Yeah. I used to believe that. I drank so many one time that it was highlighter yellow.
They make my hamstrings cramp.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Almost every show. No matter what. Even if I'm not working out. So
Have you ever tried these?
They dehydrate me. I think I had a couple of those.
The Kill Cliffs or whatever.
Yeah, I had a couple of those, I think, when we had them at the gym, but like
still same thing.
I didn't notice anything to take it to make me want to
keep drinking it.
Pony up the cash for it. Sorry, Kill Cliff.
I get it. That's an honest review.
Yeah. Sorry. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't worth the extra money that I would just.
I don't disagree.
I would just take water.
I was trying not to drink coffee this morning.
Or coffee.
I was trying not to. I've drank so much coffee in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, you've been gone doing stuff for a while. Like you haven't been here. That's why we didn't do a show 1 week because it was like a holiday thing.
It was the day before Thanksgiving.
Right. That's it. Yeah. That's it. I'm trying to put it all in my head. I'm not really like accusing you.
No.
Hey, we didn't do it. We're
Welcome to the salt mines, people. This is how Steven treats me.
I beat him as soon as we turn these cameras off. I swear.
But we've been traveling.
Arizona.
We went out to Arizona. We went to an Eddie seminar in Jacksonville, which we went with you to that, which that was pretty dope. That was cool. That was my first Eddie
Coast
seminar.
to Coast Eddies.
Yeah, that's exactly. Oh man, you stole my title. Nobody steal my title. We started off in. No, I'm making a joke. We started off in. Just keep coming. We started off in Jacksonville at his seminar. Then we drove to New Orleans that night and went to hang out. I had a homie, his younger sister just got married, and so like I hadn't met her husband or anything, so I went there, hung out with them. And South Dakota Chris rode with me for the whole thing, and South Dakota Chris had never been to New Orleans, and that just watch for the Wandering Grappler content coming out because that was quite entertaining. But we went there, then we hit all the spots in Texas for the most part. We hit Austin. We hit San Antonio, then we hit Arizona. We hit Scottsdale and Phoenix, and then we met you in San Diego for Wu-Tang Friday, and then for the children. And then we went with you up to LA and ended out that Sunday at Open Mat at LA with Eddie. So it was pretty dope.
Coast to coast. That's a long trip.
I was ready for it to be over.
I was about to say, how do you feel?
We were both. We drove straight back from. We left having a conversation with Eddie. Like we were sitting on the mat having a conversation with him, and I saw a gap. Like Eddie took a breath, and so I was like, "Hey man, we gotta get on the road," because it was like 2:00 in the afternoon by that point. So we left at 2:00 in the afternoon, and I rolled in at Decatur at 11 p.m. Monday night, and we didn't turn the car off. So yeah. I was trying not to drink any more coffee. Was why I picked up the Kill Cliff.
Intense.
And it kind of helped. So,
yeah. Okay. Cool, man. Good for you.
Anyways, I'm back. We're back on the show.
Good for you. Back here. So yeah, that was cool though. We went to, so I guess to give everyone else some of that update.
Yeah. What was your take on the Eddie seminar in Jacksonville? That's you've trained with Eddie a lot, haven't you?
It was really cool. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but it was cool to go to that one because it was a little bit different than the other ones because it was mostly laying down like philosophy and stuff like that and showed techniques, but it wasn't really like a drill heavy seminar, which is what I've kind of gotten used to in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
As a lot of people have moved towards like really drill heavy seminars. But I'll be honest, this seminar it reminded me a ton of one of my favorite seminars I ever got to go to was one of Jean-Jacques' seminars that was in San Diego, where we did get a few minutes to kind of drill some stuff, but it was mostly like, let me tell you some stuff that I think is really important about what we do or how we do it. And then I'm going to show you a bunch of things that are really simple that can help make it easier for you to do what we do, sort of. And
like, what's one little bit of that you're referring to? Like, what is he breaking down? Because it's not a move. Well, from what I understand from what you said.
Well, the instance I guess you could think of from the Jacksonville thing, it was like the thinking about, he mostly was talking about rubber guard and the different ways that people build their specific like path, through the reps and stuff like that. And so like, it's not really about best or even better necessarily. It really does come down a lot of times to what have you spent time doing the most, rather, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it doesn't really matter which one you choose. A lot of times it doesn't necessarily, like, though, if you choose this one and it's the one that you're better at and it's the right time, then that's going to be the best move. But if you don't know this other thing, then you can't try it, kind of stuff. So just like, I don't know, just still realizing that there's so many ways to kind of do stuff, but just like the general principles of every position are still basically the same.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. I mean, you heard a lot of the guys
like foot on the hip or butterfly, or are you, what do you,
what the essential concepts are the same.
Do you have long legs? Well, then this makes this a lot easier. If you don't have long legs, then you got to do a lot more work to make this thing happen. And you may not be able to make this happen, but if you can make all this extra work happen, then you totally got it, stuff like that. And then that happens so much over and over in jiu-jitsu for people, because some things for you right now are just like, yeah, this is just easy. And then some things people show you, it's just like, I can't get that to fit. You know what I mean? Because it's not similar enough to something else that you've done, that it doesn't quite, snap for you or whatever, for you, Zach. And I don't know why I keep doing that. I've been doing it the last couple of days. It must just be Vic at you, Zach. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna tap there, Zach. I'm just gonna.
I forgot my train of thought now.
Yeah, we went off on that, but my takeaway from what I've heard a lot of these guys that are saying they're like close to Eddie, and like what I've heard Eddie say is that like it's, and this is like an oversimplification of what I understand, but like we take jiu-jitsu and we make it so complicated, whereas like it's really not that complicated. It's just what works for you. What pathways do you spend the most time grooving? Do those. Don't make up some new stuff in the moment unless that's what you're trying to do.
Well, it's like, but this is the thing, is it's like, what are the main things, right? If you break it down, how many moves are there? Whatever number, infinite number of possibilities, I guess you could say, right? But what are the main, like, say, positions, or not maybe necessarily positions then, but what are the main principles for defense or escaping that are universal, right? Like defending these positions this way, defending these positions this way, and attacking from these positions this way, right? These are some attacks from this position. These are some ways to defend from this position. Now, I just said all that stuff, and it makes no sense to you right now because you haven't done any of it. Let's put you in the position. You get a rep. Boom, boom, boom. You get to the spot. I'm doing this because we're doing rubber guard. Mm-hmm. And you say, go. Right. And then you go live from that spot.
Well, like I heard somebody talking about the fact that like the live drills and the warm-ups are like our versions of katas.
It
kind of.
Sort of. And so that's the thing. Like if you take it that way, then it definitely can be.
So it can be whatever you need it to be.
Right. And so it gives you muscle memory on movement patterns, and it can be a good way to get started and get warmed up. But honestly, once you stop in each of those positions and have to really like understand, like we're doing, if we're doing meat hook, we're going to go get a whole rep from, butterfly guard, maybe get into jersey and then to meat hook or something. We're going to stop a meat hook. Now you got to go live, and you can't submit him from meat hook, but now you just got to control him for the entire time. Now, if a submission comes up or something like that, cool. If he starts defending you and almost starts to get away, then yes, switch through your processes, but don't just immediately ditch and go to the next thing just because it exists. Really figure out what the control parts are, because those are what are going to expose X, Y, and Z, is how you're controlling them. They respond certain ways because you have such control mechanisms on them. If you don't understand such control mechanisms, then you never get it. You'll never quite get it. You'll still hit some shots or whatever, but like you won't be fundamentally sound on everything. So understanding like positionally where you're sound, and it's typically always kind of the same places. You know what I mean? If you can get your legs in front of you and between me, you're a lot more dangerous. If I can get around your legs and past them, or even behind you, then I'm even better off. And so that's the same thing, even if I'm on my back. You know what I mean? If I can get around and behind you, or off more to the side, up around your head and your neck, and I'm not really worried about your legs and stuff at all that much, I can really choke you or put a lot of heavy weight on you and create these situations where you have to respond in such a way that if I can control you long enough, you're gonna give up something like a choke or one of those easy sweeps or something like that, because you're just gonna spaz out at the very least if you don't know. And so when you are strong enough to like raw and like get me to come up and over, then I'm just gonna sit in your face, or your chest as I land there or whatever. You see people take like these mounted triangles and different things, mounted go-go's and different things like that a lot. That the go-go roll, different, a lot of those kind of things. Just rubber guard minded right now, stuff like that. Understanding that those principles are the same as the butterfly sweep, and like an omoplata is the same as the Hazlet, the same as the Carney, same as the Kimura. Say, what I mean?
You came full circle around to like what I was thinking at first, because
that's what I mean.
There's only 3 moves.
So
like,
what do you think?
Nothing that, yeah.
And so for you, which one of those things do you think are the most important? And then which one of those things do you think are the most important that your people need to know how to defend? Where do you see the most that people are doing to people? Well, then we got to know how to defend that. And
what was the biggest thing out there right now?
I mean, everywhere is rear naked choke. Back control, defense, everywhere, universally, anyone, everywhere. You don't want to let somebody have your back, and you definitely don't want to like let them get control of you where they can choke you or beat you up from your back. You need to be able to escape somebody having that. That's worst case scenario for everybody everywhere. forever because you can't really fight back hardly, you know, unless you can survive, right? But if a person's pretty smart on your back, they know how to control it, right? Or they know how to hurt you bad from that position. A lot of times, you know, you're not in a good position there ever. That's never a good position.
Nobody's even if you can argue like I'm comfortable there, you can't argue that
it's not good.
You're not winning.
Yeah, no, you're not.
You're not winning at all.
You may end up beating a lot of people from there because you understand
how to get out
and
how to escape.
What they don't understand about being patient in a lot of positions and stuff like that. But everybody wants to get to the back and choke, and if you don't, you're stupid. If you don't want to get to people's back,
every blue belt has a rear naked choke of some sort.
Everybody everywhere should, and that should be one of your main. Yeah. That should be one of the main things you do. You should always be trying to get behind people that are trying to harm you physically or whatever, get away from their range or get behind them. And if you got a rear naked choke that's unstoppable, then good. You know what I mean? Like then get to the back and everything's good, right? So you get so good in those positions. And then you also though get so good at escaping that you don't panic. There's no panic response ever. Yeah. When you get to some of these positions, you know exactly where you are. You know exactly what they're doing in all these different ways because you've been stuck in that position for these live drills where it's set up for you to lose. It's set up sometimes for one person or the other to lose because you want the other person to feel the power of why you would want to get to this position. We're going to start here. It's not over yet, but it's basically over. Watch. Now, fully resist. Go. And then it's like.
It's real.
Yeah. Because you just control. You say, don't even tap. You say, like, I'm going to go to this position and I'm going to say, when I get here, there's nothing you can do. Watch. I'm going to get a position. You, Isaac, have this position on me now. Control.
Right.
I'm going to escape. You can get a tap if it just comes to you, but mostly I want you to not let me go.
Don't let me
Ready? Go. And then you see how long you can control somebody from that position or where the power is. And then you can be like, oh, I have to get here. I have to be able to get to this spot. Or now you can also be, I can never let somebody get me to this spot because it's such a deadly position both ways. So anytime I'm here, I got to be going. I can't be stuck here because it's such a bad thing. But I also really want to put people here because it's a really it's a game over kind of spot on everybody. And if it's not, then this is what they're doing. And so now I know what I'm doing wrong when I get to this place, when I lose it, because people are posturing up or they're pulling their arm out or they're rolling or they're cartwheeling or they're, I don't know, whatever they're doing, driving in, So,
well, and is this the answer to the guy that like we've talked about before of how do you teach the guy that like looks at you and go, like that's not going to work?
Well, you just
put him all the way on step 12, but you don't have to. But you don't have to kill him,
right? You go through the full rep. You go from guard to sweep attempt that doesn't work, all the way to the like triangle or whatever. And now I've got a full like triangle, but maybe you got your arm across. And it's like, all right, now I want you to bottom person, you know what you have. Don't let them escape this position. So then now from the bottom, you need to understand when I get that figure 4 around somebody's head and neck, they can't get away, man. Like obviously they can, right? But in your mind, you've got to train yourself enough that they don't. You know what I mean? So then you're saying they can't, as in I'm going to learn every possible way that people are escaping and I'm going to stop it.
So how do you get the guy on like the training sense to not like, is it a cultural thing, I guess, in the gym that you make sure that when you put them in that dead to rights, it's like when you're the guy that it's set up to lose, it's like, no, you're set up to lose. Don't hurt yourself here.
I say it out loud. Yeah. I don't know. I guess you need to say that out loud, right? Because,
there is that guy that's like, I'm going to rip out.
And dude, some people are just trying to, and some people are going harder and, they don't really understand
why they're going harder.
Even doing, they just don't want to get tapped or they think that's what they're supposed to do. Or, you say defend it. So they're defending or whatever.
Harder.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So people are, they're operating on a bunch of different levels, which is, the thing day to day that's kind of tough to deal with in the gym. Because now, like I said, we got a bunch of people that are just kind of like, yeah, they know the deal. But then we got 1 or 2 new people every class or so that just don't really have all the information. So we got to kind of fill in the gaps almost routinely. Somebody's got to go back and be like, oh yeah, this is what we do here, and don't do that. Okay. Sorry. We talked about it, but not recently, kind of stuff like that. So I don't know, man. That's the game. You got to try to figure out the plays and force people to go to the play. Because if we talk about it right now, we just drilled this move for 30 minutes. And then now it's like, all right, you guys go roll. Or we drilled it for an hour after I talked for 30 minutes or whatever we'll say. And now I would say go roll for 30 minutes. And then none of you get to that position because everybody's hyper aware of what we just talked about. And so nobody gets to try it, or everybody thinks, man, this is bullshit. It don't work on anybody. Well, no, duh, because everybody just learned all about it.
That's my favorite time to run something.
I try it because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I'll go get smashed. And
but
be
you
like,
gotta, but that's what I'm saying. You got to know what's happening though. And if you understand that part of it, then it's okay to do it.
I'm not trying to win the role. I'm trying to do the thing.
And that's how that's learning what the plays are against it. You know what I mean? That's touching everything every time they get away from it when you're trying to do it. Like when you're trying to enter it. Now it's like, all right, I'm trying to get to this thing. Well, they're like, no. So now you're like, well, I got to try another thing when they say no this way. Like if they stiff arm me, I got to somehow climb the rope or whatever to get up on them.
Oh, you're a lot stronger than my first partner was.
Sometimes that's the case, right? It
turns out this is fake against you.
Wow. Like, dude. And like, Jimmy came over this morning and took and just hung out in class or whatever, and like I had went around to the groups or whatever and was explaining, the way to use that bottom hook in New Jersey a little bit to get a better angle and control somebody, and said it several times. I felt like in a few different ways, but person was just not quite getting it, and still struggling. And I was just like, well, maybe on this person, it's not the right move for you or whatever, maybe you just won't be able to fit it with this person quite, maybe this isn't going to be quite the flow. And he didn't like the answer, about that. He was like, I don't know, he's like, if I do it right, then I can get it. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with that sentiment, but I didn't know what to say elsewise again. Well, then Jimmy said basically the same thing that I said. Like he gave the same advice, but in his words about what I was saying, unknowing that I had told the person the same thing already. And they were like, oh,
it makes complete sense.
Oh my God. And I just I almost wanted to punch myself. Whoosh. Come on,
but
man.
It's almost a messenger thing too. Like,
no, that's what I say.
You're not necessarily what the information is. It might be who the person,
right?
Like
how I said it or whatever, exactly.
The relationship, anything can influence how it's like, oh, that makes total sense. We have this mutual way to understand each other.
Yeah.
So we get it.
Maybe they've grappled more similarly than I have with him, possibly. Or their style wise or whatever, you know what I mean? He just said it and he was just like, oh, and it's like, oh, but that happens so much, and I used to do it to people too. So it's not like, I don't know. It's a thing. People need confirmation, which is scientific method or whatever. You got to test it or whatever, which is cool. It makes sense.
Science.
So we went to San Diego for the Friday night training last weekend. Zach and Barnett, Lo Jefe Minor.
Los Jefes.
American Muscle. It's a thing. It's a thing.
You'll have to watch. You have to watch whatever comes out of that.
We don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Though. That's the good part about life. So, anyways, we went down there and trained, and man, it was like a slaughterhouse.
I gave you a little forewarning. The night before, I got not punch choked, but rear naked choke, where they were just punching through, and I was like, oh, it's this kind of room.
Yeah, it's go. It's
I got it. I got the memo on round 2.
Right. Well. This not every time I go though, people want to get training because I haven't been there or whatever. And of course I want to oblige everybody. But for people that don't know, Wu-Tang is 15 3-minute rounds with a 10-second rest in between to get a fresh partner, basically is all. And I always had 5 or 6 people walk towards me between every round. And I could have done 30 rounds, I bet, if it wouldn't have ended. So it was just intense, man. And there's a couple of the rounds that I had to like get through because I was just
be
so,
alive at the end.
It was just like, this is just so rough because these guys are good, you know. There's so many good guys, and
that was a pretty heavy room. Like that was interesting.
And I was getting after my peers, or they were getting after me too, mostly, or the guys that I used to train with a lot, who've improved a lot too, you know. So it was a lot of fun to feel what everybody's doing and to try to play some of the stuff that we've been working on or whatever against them that they may not know that I've been doing. A lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to go over there.
Did you find any of your game was working, or are you going to divulge any of your game that was working in that room?
I mean, some of the same old stuff worked and didn't work because you, for whatever reason, you kind of fall into patterns with people a little bit. Richie was strong. He's done put on like some size. I'm not gonna tell his stuff, but I guessed it. I knew almost how much because he's way stronger than he was. That's that dad bod strength or whatever. You know what I mean?
I felt every bit of that.
That's that protector. You know, it's like no, nobody's walking through this door. Is you get it when you know what I mean, it just happens at a certain time. And like he went through it. Like the crazy part is that like what we do, we started completely different. I went on top. I pulled guard or whatever and tried to do some guard stuff. And then somehow along the way, we still ended up with him trying all the Darce Japanese necktie stuff on me for the majority of the time, and I was just defending it.
I made the mistake of defending the Darce the first time.
I'm pretty good at it, thankfully. That's what I'm saying. So like, maybe I
only got through to the Japanese necktie, and then it was game over for me.
Maybe I've just done it so many times, and not like in a good way, but just like
you just got put through that wash
pattern.
I know what's coming next.
I don't know how to go any other way than the ways that I go. These are the ways I go, and he knows. Like he knows like what I'm doing. He knows what I'm doing. So he's like, he's going to get it. And I don't know how to stop from getting it. And I just keep hoping that one day I'm going to beat it around the corners. And I do sometimes, like obviously like not let him get stuff and whatever, but just in general, there's certain patterns that he and I go through where if either of us still purposely try to go another way, it still ends up going back towards one of the other person's things that they're trying to, because like he's trying his best stuff, even if I'm trying to go a different way. And if he's trying to go a different way, it's like, oh, this is my chance to use my stuff on him, you know? And so that we'll go towards whatever I usually like to do. So then he'll defend that the way that you have to normally, you know? So it just kind of, it's just funny like that. But then some of the smaller guys, I got heel hooked.
Your facial expression. I'm definitely gonna go cut that out.
I love them, man, but they're just faster. There's less to hold on to, and honestly, in those positions, that's not what I should do against them. If I really wanted to try to like beat them in a real way, but I wanted to beat them with that. You know, I wanted. That's what I'm saying. That's
wanted to play the game.
Yeah. I want. They haven't seen me since I've been really trying to hone in on that a lot more. And yeah, they're still really small and savvy and fast and know a lot of what they're doing, and you know they're good. So props, you know, that's why it's fun to go there, and I love to go there because it shows me exactly like what to do and what not to do in a lot of situations. You know, I get a lot of like fact checking on the spot. You know, so what you reading?
I just saw Riley's comment. He said, trying to do the carny against each other at the Boogie Seminar. Oh, yes. Did y'all try to carny each other?
Yeah, he was here at the Boogie Seminar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it can work. It will work, you know, but it takes work to make it go, and it hurts the whole way through.
Yeah.
For the other person to defend some of that stuff. So I don't know, it's interesting. It's really, really interesting to see everything from that like whole pullback way. And then again, to be there in San Diego where there was no shortage of like partners of all shapes and sizes to go, like 100-pound woman would really put you in trouble if you're not careful, meaning me talking to myself, Teresa. And then there's others obviously, but she's someone that I've trained with a lot. So I know that she's just like really wiry, and if you don't chill, I mean, if you chill too much, she's gonna get you can't just think that, oh, she's this little girl or where she's like, yeah, she'll choke you.
Yeah, I've made that mistake. I've gotten caught on my heels before and been like, oh, turns out you're a world champion.
And there's other really big dudes there too that are pretty good, stuff like that. So,
man, training with you gets me called out by every big guy at every gym. They're like, hey, you know Steven? And I'm like, yo, because I know I'm just getting smashed.
About to get head and arms.
Like, I learned this on his channel.
Nice. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Do it to all of them. Show them what it's like.
What's also funny that on a completely side note of that, I can't remember his last name, but Cody from Austin that competed at the super fight thing the other night. He and I were rolling together Sunday, and you know how like I'll turtle up and you'll like stand on my hips to dig your hooks in or whatever. He tried to do the same thing, and I laughed because I was like, "Bro, it's just not the same."
Sorry, man. It's a good idea though.
I think I've just got extra callus there now. Or just have gone ahead and ripped both my hips the rest of the way out.
There's no nerves. The nerves are broken.
I can't feel it. Is that a good thing?
Depends on what you're doing, I guess.
So the rest of your trip, you went to
from there. We went up to LA to HQ, and then did like a business meeting, and then kind of where it was cool again. Jacksonville got a lot of the philosophy from Eddie, and then again here. He like doubles down on a lot of that stuff. So like, you know, for sure that this is things that he's really thinking and believing in and stuff a lot, because that's what he's saying everywhere he goes.
Yeah. He said it like, I heard him say the same thing in Jacksonville that I heard him saying just sitting on the side of the mat.
So it's what he believes, you know what I mean? And whether you believe what he believes or not, it's fine or whatever, but he's saying the same stuff consistently. And I appreciate that. So even consistently with what things are different and new, and how things may shift and change, he's consistently talking about those things as it happens or whatever. So some of the newer, like philosophy for the system and stuff like that, maybe not newer philosophy, but newer like drills and stuff that are being done at HQ and stuff like that.
So what's newer about that? Like just a side thing. I'm new to the system, so like I don't understand the difference between old and new.
It's not all necessarily newer. It's just like. Instead, I mean, I guess it's only newer because it's adding something to something that was shortened, and just was only shortened because it wasn't thought about to have the additional part of it, in it. For instance, like a triangle escape or whatever. It's like if you like bust out of the triangle or whatever, and then you bring your head right back down, you're still in a triangle or whatever. So you need to make sure that you're like past the guard.
So they put extensions on
certain things or whatever, where it's like, this is not necessarily where this drill should end, but this is kind of where we've let them in before. But really, you need to solidify whatever or give it more.
It's just additive.
That's what I'm saying. It's
not new.
It's not like, this is innovative jiu-jitsu stuff, or like we're gonna revolutionize the game or whatever.
I thought that maybe we were experiencing like an Old Testament, New Testament moment in the 10th Planet System. Or...
No, nothing like that. No. Just more like consistency on things that, and not, just more like finishing,
building,
more finishing.
Yeah, okay.
Instead of just looking for like a small piece of something in the live drill portion of it. Let's make sure that we're really adding all of the game into this live drill portion of it, since we're there, beginning to end kind of stuff of it. Cause a lot of times we do those, like a King of the Hill thing or whatever. And if you're doing like a sweep or a pass or whatever, then somebody kinda will get around somebody's legs, and then the other person will just kind of and then they'll kind of give it up. And it's like, don't do that. Make sure you're not just like giving them that pass, because other people aren't just going to give that away. Like when they're gonna try to recover their guard.
Well, so and I trained at like a lot of places that were like IBJJF and like points minded, and so like that was always like super like, don't let them pass it. Like guys would like break their fingers over like letting someone get past their guard. Yeah. So like I guess like they're updating that system now of like, we know we're playing submission, but like actually fight through to things, like do all that. Is that kind of what you're saying? Like if you don't get the submission, then you shouldn't just like next. Okay. Because I think and not that there's a lot of people doing that,
But in a lot of the live drills, in the live drill though, like if I slip my arm out,
everything doesn't just end.
People just stop.
Okay, yeah.
You know, because like EBI overtime, that's how it is. And so like, there's a certain time you're doing EBI overtime, maybe, where if they take mount from the back, then it's over. Right. But in like real jiu-jitsu rounds,
that's not over. Yeah.
Then now have you mounted.
Yeah. That's how I lost a fight.
So so make sure that people understand both sides of that coin, because when people start doing other things that aren't just like EBI rules or whatever,
they get left exposed.
Then they get left in the mount or whatever and stuff. So let's just make sure that like, hey, you don't let them mount you when you let you do this back escape, because like
move on.
People are going to,
right?
Even though they lose an EBI OT, it's going to win other things.
Or get your face smashed in. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we want to win everything.
Yeah.
Like I want to win everything.
Okay.
You know, so like these are ways that we can help win more things instead of just sub only stuff, you know, which is the goal for everybody, right? I think everybody just wants to be really well rounded. Nobody wants to be like a one trick pony of any kind. Nobody wants to just be, you know, good at this one style of like, not even like just no gi, which is fine, but like even just in no gi, you want to be the best,
right? Like
universally, like at the points or no points or ADCC or one of these other weird rules, you know, that do stuff. You want to be able to win like you just want to show up and throw down. Like somebody shows up and does stuff. You just want to be able to roll and win no matter what. No rule, whatever the rules are, you can just win. And I think that's what you want to have for a program or association
or a system. That was going to be my question.
Yeah.
Like, so is this goal anywhere like for a system? Because like that may not be necessarily the personal goal of the person that's training.
I mean, you don't have to, right? But nobody has to.
But if you're training in a system, like you want to train in the best system.
Right. It's a part of the system.
Right.
Not mean you have to adopt these specific techniques per se either. Right. You can have like a system in the system that works for you too, you know, but just like doing the main parts of the stuff, you know what I mean? Like making sure that you're doing, like he didn't say we had to do this.
It's just saying this is what
what he's doing.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what he said. So just clarify that too. This wasn't a thing.
These aren't commandments.
Yeah, this wasn't a thing where it's like this is universally where everyone in the template system has to do this or whatever. He's like, this is what I'm doing. This is why. And he really spent, you know, a good chunk of time and brought people out. Brought two students, Brandon Lim and Lily Hoffman, out there, two of his good students that are there. They came out and demoed a lot of the stuff that they were doing. I think that's Chris. What's his name? I can't remember his last name right now. He left Warner Robins Air Force. Either way, but dang it, I can't look at that thing.
Okay, we won't have the comments up anymore.
No, it's fine. What did I say before that? Shucks.
You just threw me off as well. We were talking about.
You don't have to do what he said.
Right.
That's just what he's working on. And so adding it up these ways and just, you know, doing different things will help you win. If you want to build champions, right? Like if you want to have a championship program, this is one way.
Okay. Yeah. That was my question, is like, what's the goal?
That's the thing. Like if you want to have champions, this is probably a good idea to have a system like this. Not even necessarily still, you have to do this exact system, but this is like this type of stuff. Like, would you not want to have everybody in your school good at defending rear naked chokes and getting on top?
Right.
Probably so.
Yeah.
You know, so just general.
It allows you to play the game better.
Universal principles. Boom. What do? What's the easiest possible thing? Over and 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 over.
Is there a balance? Because like I hear all that, I see all that, but I go to these places and train, and there's still like, because when I hear all that, I think about that all there is to do is now I got to go to like, because when I heard the person make the statement about that, these are like arcadas. It's like, that's kind of what turned me off of other traditional things. Cause like, I like jujitsu because I like.
So there are traditional martial artists that are jujitsu black belts now too.
Right.
So hearing that word, you can call it whatever you want, you know. It can be warm-ups. You can call it kata. You can call it whatever you want to. You can call it, you know, jujitsu movements that take a while to understand.
I like that title.
You know what I mean?
But what I'm saying is that like, so now from what I understand is that like it helps you play the game better. So like the roles are better because you do this. And so like I like that look at it more than thinking about it. And this is just for me, because like when something starts to feel like school, I go, okay, that's boring. And so like that's what it initially felt like to me. But now that I've like seen it from inside out and I've gone to all these places, they don't just sit there and just do the warm-ups. Like, no, it's a live drill that you go through, and then they still do the thing that I like to do later. They still roll.
Yeah.
And
but the live drill thing is the live drill thing is also like rolling though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, they're both.
Yeah.
And people have to understand that it's okay to go through these positions and with control enough to make the person like give up what you need.
Right.
You know, there's nothing wrong, with asserting yourself and like dominating the other person. And now, if you want to be friends with people in training and stuff like that, in class and stuff like that, there's certain things that maybe you wouldn't want to do in a training room, to training partners, but anything within the rules is legal. So there's nothing that you should be upset by that's within the rules. So maybe there's rules that aren't clear or people don't understand sometimes that need to be expressed and different things like that. And that's kind of one of the things too, that like new people that come in, you just gotta be like, hey, these are things that we do, these are things that we don't do. And then if something comes up, we try to like address it as it goes or whatever. I don't know. I forget where I was going with that too.
Well, I mean, like when it goes to the like, what is one of the no-goes? Like what is one of the things that, I mean, of course we all know, like don't fish hook. Don't
like that. I guess that's that's the thing, right? And so then within the training room, like what kind of class is this? Is this like a competition class?
Right, because anything below the eyes is the neck at that point.
Then literally anything in the world that is under the rule set that you ask, I guess, that they apply.
If anything you do before I say tap should be okay in a competition.
Right. And so like if somebody's like, if you're rolling in a competition class, if somebody wants to put their elbow on your like neck right here and like smash your neck or your face or your ear, or
they don't hand out these ears in ballet class.
Like, you know what I mean? Or they want to put their elbow in your sternum. They want to put their elbow in your belly, on your legs. Like if they want to do their elbows into your thighs or whatever.
Move their elbow if you don't like it.
Like these are all things that people can do to draw out a reaction from you.
Yes.
So then if you have a really big reaction to those, you're giving them what they want.
Right.
So you need to learn to not have those big reactions, and you will beat those reactions very easily.
They won't do it as hard.
But they can't.
Because you're not giving them. You're not giving them what they need.
There's no reason to, and you'll learn to counter it and learn which ones are the ones that are like really worth dealing with and not. Because sometimes something that hurts in the moment is like, once you figure it out, you can just be like, no, I'm just gonna let you squeeze or push or whatever until you get frustrated and move. And then as soon as you do, I know where you're going now.
Because I'm not gonna get hurt. I'm not gonna go to sleep. So
like you said about my ears or whatever, you think what you think I rap for? That's what I'm saying. Like,
wait, what does rapping have to do with your ears?
I just thought it was a good line.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you on that throwaway. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was a throwaway. That's what I clung to.
I even looked at the camera and everything.
Okay. I ruined the bit. Sorry. Noted. Going in your performance review, Sir Stackhouse.
Yeah. So, but either way, it's all that kind of stuff. Just like nailing down some of that stuff, and then even deciding, like what parts of the game are the most important to me, which parts of the philosophy are the most important to me. Not necessarily like I'm going to do exactly everything he said as far as like the X's and O's of a playbook per se, but philosophy wise, I think that is a very good concept, because he even says it, that this is, like I said, the competition, the trying to build champions, top 10 people in the world or whatever, versus what like your regular everyday people class or whatever, when you come in and you can just like teach a like a seminar on one thing every day, or whatever, and then like it's chill, and like people aren't really going hard at each other and different things, and like every gym has that and needs that and stuff like that. So that's kind of the thing. Are you trying to build this kind of person or team, or this kind of person or team? But actually, as we all know, you need both to have a successful like gym or academy business, whatever that is, to be successful, because you can't really just survive off of competitors alone.
God no.
You need regular people that have jobs and careers and all that stuff that come in and train regularly and different things like that too, who may not want to be top 10 in the world, but they want to train pretty hard, and they want to understand what they're doing, and at a high level, and then they compete sometimes, but they don't want to be top 10 or the best in the world, but some people do, and how do you accommodate those people? And I think a lot of the live drills should serve both people well, because it controls the chaos. You're not just out there, like you said, just free rolling for 10 5-minute rounds every day off the bat, like just starting out.
Well, if you can't even survive like the first 2 minutes of the roll, you can't.
Dude, we used to do it so bad back in the day, man. I'm almost embarrassed to think about the way that we used to train. Even, not, stuff that I would do leading the classes and stuff, like just the way that, like, just didn't know any better though. That's the thing. And that's why I try to give people as much grace as possible when I see or hear things that people do. It's like, man, maybe they don't know yet. They just haven't seen the way yet.
The only thing I'll call you out on every time is if you have your students kicking something hard to harden their shins.
I don't.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's what I would.
I don't do that.
I wasn't.
Why are you calling me out?
I wasn't saying you.
He's calling me out.
Oh, see,
internet.
This is how the internet works.
See,
now there's
a beef.
Internet beef.
He's vegan though, guys. So there's really not.
Okay, there is no beef.
Right, it's fake.
Oh, I don't know why that made me laugh so hard.
That was a good one. You're welcome. I guess nobody else may have laughed, but he did. So I
did. That's all that matters.
That's the only person I can hear. So doing some of that stuff is really cool. I guess we can run through some stuff otherwise. PGF.
We got PGF coming up in
January 9th
through the
15th. It's going to be the Shark Week of Jiu Jitsu, basically, is what
I hear.
It's going to be, the competition is the week of. On the final day, the 15th, there'll be an EBI formatted tournament with a no time limit final from the people who make it through the season. The 4 teams, right? There's 4 teams.
4, yes.
Yeah.
With coaches.
Yeah, with some coaches that are going to pick and have a draft order. Everybody's getting some money based on their draft order. So the first round draft picks or whatever are going to get paid more for the week than the people who get drafted lower. So if you're interested in the PGF stuff, you should get out there and start politicking for your favorite person that's in the thing and start trying to get them drafted higher so they can get paid. Start really getting after people who the coaches are, and really like hyping up your people, man, because this is actually like a professional league where these guys are going to get paid for this like 6 days that they're there. If they make it to the finale, they'll get paid for that too. But definitely for the week of coming, everybody's going to make a little bit of money. I don't know how much.
Well, and for those viewers of ours that we've brought over that don't know the PGF, maybe like what are they? What type of style is it? What are the rule set?
So this season is going to be the 170s, right? Welterweights.
Yeah.
I guess we're still calling them welterweights for some reason because
they
do it in the MMA. It's 170. The rule set is that it's a 6-minute match. This time the teams are not going to go against each other. Teammates won't face each other, which will avoid any kind of weirdness. 6-minute match. No, if there's a choke, 6 points. If there's a joint lock of any sort, that's 3 points. If either of those 2 things happen within the first minute, you'll get an additional 1 point for the quick kill. After that, if nobody submits, you both get 0 points. At the end of the season or during the season, the points, they'll tally up. And the top, I think it's 8, right? I think you said the top 8.
Yes. Top 8 are going, if I remember.
The top 8 are going in. So it doesn't necessarily matter that you may lose a couple of matches, or you may lose
get in.
If you get in there and if you get some kills, which are chokes, you get 6. If somebody's only getting breaks like arm bars, heel hooks, or different things like that, they're only getting 3s. So they've got to win twice as many matches as you do to stay ahead, or at least 1.5 more if they're getting them in under a minute. So it's like it's really like interesting to.
What's your word of advice to the competitors?
Just win. Just win. Just beat everybody.
Don't pass anything up.
If you only get joint locks and you beat everybody with all joint locks, and somehow you don't make it to the playoffs and you don't win the whole thing, man, that's tough. But I wouldn't pass up too many things unless you just know for sure you got the person outclassed.
Did Jonathan Robert, did he miss out on the final because of that, or was he just
got
close?
A bad seed? Okay. I think he got a low seed.
Well, if you still make it into the final tournament,
that puts you against the best guy right away. If you're number 8, but you also you only lost to this one guy, and now you get to the playoffs and he's your first opponent. It's like, dang, maybe we should have waited. I wish I was number 2, and then we could have went finals against each other again. At least
you have to fight him either way if he's the best guy, quote unquote, right?
Right, but you as a now like person who's in the game like that or whatever, like you want to see the final 2 guys. I'd like to see the 2 guys who may have made it to the end anyway. Yeah. Like if he beat everybody during the season, except this guy, I don't know. Maybe some parity would be nice. I don't know. It's interesting, but that's what happened to Jonathan, though. I think is that he got a low seed, and ended up going against a couple of tough guys or a tough guy or whatever, and got put out in the first round of the thing. So that's why they gave the 1 minute rule. To give that extra point, that would have stacked them on up a little bit. I don't know, like making that.
That's the new swing.
I'm gonna figure it out because that sound effects matter. So that adds up. You go to the playoffs. This is the EBI style one this year. Last year we did all no time limit matches, right?
Yeah, for the finals.
Yeah, we all had no time limit matches, and so it could have went on forever. This time they're cutting it down to the EBI style matches with the OTs, and then the last match is going to be no time limit. And I'm not sure exactly what that winner's going to get paid, but he'll also get paid for that. So everybody gets paid for showing up.
And now it's attached to a whole tournament or a whole show, isn't it? I saw something they shared that Submission Underground, or no, not Submission Underground, maybe, I don't know.
Oh, Summit Grappling.
Summit Grappling. I knew it was
the finale. The finale is going to have they're doing an undercard.
Yeah.
Same venue, the same day to lead up towards the PGF finale to give it some more sauce. So that'd be cool.
It's gonna be a fun day.
Yeah, trying to really like make it a big deal, because it is cool, and I don't know how it's gonna go. We're gonna see. It's gonna be fun. I'll be there. I'm not sure exactly what I'll be doing, but I'll be up there and talking and giving bad advice to people because that's what I like to do. See how it comes out. It's TV, baby. Somebody's got to do it.
It's an honest day's work.
Yeah, it ain't much. But either way, so that's coming up.
I'll be wandering up there.
You're in that for sure.
Oh yeah.
Hit him up. That's who you want on your first round draft pick. If you like him.
The Wandering Grappler.
If you don't like him, then you want somebody else.
But you can bid against me. That's okay.
Fine. It's okay. He likes it. January 29th, Mid-South Classic. Boom. Absolutes, open weights, purple belts and under. And you can be a non-purple belt, but it may be a little bit harder for you to get in right now. Because we're getting good interest from the higher level people or whatever. You can be a white belt maybe and possibly get in too, but just let me know. 16 people this time. We're gonna do one bracket and just try to like maybe space it out a little bit with a couple other matches to fill in some time. So if you're interested in maybe coming and doing like a match, just hit me up or send us a message and I will see if anybody else sends a message that's close to your skill, size, and weight. And if that happens, then we can set something up if it makes sense, but not necessarily like looking for super fights or whatever kind of deal, because we're still going to do it in the gym. Not a ton of extra like seating and space like that yet. I still like doing that in the
I like it. I like the small space, especially after going to the thing at Eddie's. Like that's what I like it to feel like. Like it's in a basement and it feels like Fight Club. Like that's what it feels like, and I like it. Yeah.
So doing that, giving away $2,000. They're gonna earn $2,000 for their tournament. $100 a piece on the buy-in, but they go all back to the winners. Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked about that. I think I've already got 9 or 10 people name on the list, a couple of which I've already gotten payment for that I've accepted into the thing, and the others are all kind of pending a little bit, waiting on giving time for people to see it a little bit and trying to fill out the bracket with maybe the best people possible, in my opinion. Yeah, I want to have a good time. I want to have a good show. I want to make it exciting, and I'd like the idea of giving away $2,000 to one person. Like, that seems worth it.
Yeah,
$1,000. $50 was worth it at some time to me, but
a $5 medal's been worth it to me before.
Hot take. It's not even really that spicy, but
I feel like that's the general consensus.
I think
so. But $2,000 for a day's work in jiu-jitsu is great. Like that's, yeah. I think that's something that we've.
It's gonna be some heavy lifting. It's not gonna be easy. But
yeah, open weight.
It's 4 matches, but
open weight.
It's not impossible. Yeah, so I'm hoping that a few of the people who checked in with me really do come, because it's gonna be a slobber knocker. If
you hear that, people?
If they do,
catch it right here.
Good old slobber knocker. And if you don't know what a slobber knocker is, you need to look it up. You need to Google that. Maybe not.
Maybe DuckDuckGo or something that doesn't track it. I don't know.
Let's see. I don't know.
I'm not typing that in. Okay, let's
try
see.
Let's see what
is
happens.
A slobber knocker?
You gotta, yeah. It should come up completely honest and pure. If this doesn't come up with what it really is, no, that's not the right thing. Slobber, Alober. You gotta put the S. This may be terrible.
I can't see.
It's not on the screen, right?
Yeah, I can't. I'm just like blind typing.
S. There you go. Boom.
What do we got? Oh,
boom. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I say.
It's one word.
Yeah. Urban. I know not Urban Dictionary.
I don't know where the back button is.
Okay, that has the first one right there. He talks about the slobber knocker of a match tonight with Jim Ross, but don't go further than that.
They can't see this.
That's the okay.
The only thing that they would see is if you read it, but okay. I can't get it. I don't know where the back button is.
So my knowledge of it.
This is like working on the family computer.
That was it though. Slobber knocker, Jim Ross, the WWF promoter or announcer. He used to say that about matches, but the ones in there talks about football or whatever. A match or a contest that is particularly hard fought or physically aggressive.
Okay.
It's a slobber knocker. I know it. See? Come on, man. Get
your mind out.
Come on, man. Y'all don't even think of like that in America or in anybody that's not in America. People. That's not even what I was talking about. I was talking about a violent collision that's going to happen. 10th Planet Perry, the Mid-South Classic number. Was this 5? 6?
5, yeah.
5.
I had to envision the rash guard in my mind.
That was 4, and so we're gonna do number 5.
Yeah, that's 5.
Open weight purple belts, Mid-South Classic here in Perry, January 29th, 2022. It's gonna be super exciting. Looking forward to it. Is there other stuffs? Oh, one thing that did come up topically, and I'd like to hear other people's opinion on this too. The viral video thing that kind of went off about the Daisy Fresh fight after class or whatever. Did you see that?
I got sent it and I was driving.
Oh.
So I've heard a few takes, but give your take.
I thought it was interesting. And I think that it would be hard to pull that off in a lot of schools, the way that they're set up, just because of the way people are in general, sort of. But also, I kind of think that it's cool that it can happen in a controlled setting like that. I'm not sure that it's the right way to go every time. I think that maybe you should, if you can't find some type of middle ground before that or whatever, then let it go, I think a lot of times in some settings, that stuff would be a good thing to do, like mutual combat.
Right.
And because then people would understand a little bit more what, the consequences of some of the stuff they're doing, or if both people really just feel such a way, let it go off in a controlled setting where somebody can like stop it if the other person's trying to get out, or if somebody's really hurt, or what, what I mean, stuff like that, where there's rules or whatever.
That was
so you know what I mean? Like it's interesting. It's something that, if it was an MMA school, I could totally see it. You know what I mean? At an MMA school, for sure, 100%. Let it go. Let them fight. With the rules or whatever. Just come on. Whatever. If you really feel that way, then let it handle itself or whatever. Because sometimes,
what was the beef? I was just sitting here and I pulled it up and I looked. I agree with you on most of what you were saying about.
I think they lived together at some point.
Okay.
And then one of them kicked the other one out or something like that. And so there was like lingering beef because the other guy was pissed. And so he didn't shake his hand one day and basically told him, don't try to just stay away from me or whatever. And then, so they just kind of wanted to fight.
Yeah. If I were the coach, I would let that happen.
And so it was just like, y'all really, and that's what I was kind of thinking. I was like,
especially in the environment they're in, if you watch any of their stuff and see how they train and how they all live together and everything, yeah, I could see that getting handled that way and be like, and if it doesn't, then it goes, all right, then one of you needs to leave. Whichever one needs to leave.
Well, because it would cut out a lot of that just back and forth.
Right.
Like bickering stuff.
It's like, all right, either fight, get it over, or one of you leave.
And that's what I kind of feel like too, or just shut up,
like, or don't say anything.
Just shut up.
Just grow up.
Just chill and like.
You don't like that guy. You don't have to talk to him. You don't have to train with him.
But if y'all got such hard feelings or whatever, then settle it.
We're in a place where you can. Yeah.
So I do respect that part of it a lot.
I agree.
To be honest with you.
But that's the world that we come from too. Like, as far as like especially in the fight world too.
I mean, I can be cool with you too. That's the thing, is like, maybe there's some people in my life that if I could fight them,
we could get over
some shit.
Yeah.
But they couldn't handle that. But now that I saw that video, I was like, man, that's maybe not a bad idea. Just go ahead and get it out a little bit, and then you could talk about it or whatever if you need to talk about it or whatever, and then maybe you don't need to talk about it after that.
I think if you don't approach
environment.
If you don't approach it in the controlled and you don't have the forethought, it's like having the conversation here. If you don't have this conversation, then no, I don't think it's the right approach.
Dude,
because you're just doing it just to start a fight.
Basically like a duel back in the day.
Yeah.
You have like your second or whatever, and you send terms. And if old boy is like, no, I'm not going to apologize. It's like, all right, then if you don't apologize, then I challenge you.
Yeah.
And then if you don't accept the challenge,
then you just have to live with it.
Then you basically accepted the fact that you.
Funny enough, that's why all of them walked with a limp, because they all got shot.
Well, that's and then this.
And then it took a turn to be like a toxic bad thing too.
I don't know if we talked about it last week on the podcast or not, so I don't want to be like repeating myself or whatever. But either way, but
just at this point, the forefront.
There's stuff that's like there's cultures throughout the world or whatever, where they're considered like honor cultures or whatever, where people like fighting words do exist and different things like that, where people like there's certain offenses that somebody's got to draw blood over or whatever, and it's just like it's the way it is for the culture. And there's a lot of that in Southern culture throughout history or whatever, because from something that I've read or listened to an audiobook, that people who came from like Ireland and Scotland, from those areas or whatever, came from like a really conflict heavy like environment. A lot of them, that's why they got here, is because they were from that kind of stuff. So they just brought it here and were just, really like quick to fight about offenses, small and large, that were perceived by the greater, world. And so people were shooting each other or fighting, or then you had those blood feuds with families like the Hatfields and McCoys or whatever, where it's just like retaliation on retaliation. And so that's when it gets out of control, right? But it's still a thing that is a part of like human existence, to have kind of conflict with people sometimes, and then for you to sort it out. It doesn't mean you can't live sometimes around each other in maybe proximity, maybe not in the same spheres, maybe this animal, this lion's got to go just outside of this area, but he's cool over here. Maybe the man over here, but he can't be over here.
Yeah, but like, why does it like? I mean, I guess we're just two people talking about this. But
listen, this is super scientific. This is super scientific. Okay.
Because that's what I was saying is like, because I mean, that's what separates us from animals is the fact that like,
and so we've agreed the social contract or whatever,
right?
Yeah.
But then some of us have gone against that social contract now, and we live in the realm. Like I said, you and I both watched that video, and I was just reading Seth's comment where he came up on high school sports, where he grew up seeing the same thing. Of our initial reaction is, yeah, they had beef, they had a reason to be mad at each other, and they couldn't get over it. Yeah, let them fight it out. So, I mean, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know.
So a lot of the way I came up was fights like that. It was fights to where when it was on to the point that it was over, and then it was over, and like,
it didn't carry on.
Keep trying to hurt them, any further than proving the point of whatever, because you couldn't agree. Now, the thing that's, again, this is what we're kind of going into in some ways, is like that's where you can lend to bullies in a situation where kids can be left, or people can be left unchecked by other people, because then like the might makes right kind of argument comes in, where the kids that's bigger and stronger, or the person that's bigger and stronger, can come in and just be like, you do what I say, or I'm going to beat you up. And you can be like, no. And it's like, well, I'm just going to beat you up, and you can't really do anything yet about it. And so now with all the weapons that everybody's got and stuff like that, it would just be, again, like just warring clans and like tribes and stuff again, over and over and over again. So we've all kind of agreed to stop doing that to each other, to exist in these bigger communities and cities, and
well, I mean, ultimately we're living in the most peaceful time in human history. I know that's a thing that I've heard stated on really smart places.
I've never lived in another time, so
touche.
I don't know that. That's what I mean. That's like, I can only speak about my observations.
Yeah, but I mean, history shows us.
Well, it said there's books that say a lot of stuff like that, but there was a lot of people that were pretty safe in other times throughout history too, that we don't know about, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Sort of.
Maybe. This isn't that safe for everybody.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, statistically speaking.
Well, because there's more people though. That's why it's safer. So that's what statistically.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, people aren't just, but people aren't just rolling up on the shores, just like taking over. Well, okay, never mind. I'm just gonna stop there. Never mind. As I started thinking that through, I was like, well,
excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
Good point.
There's some information I would like to share with you.
Fair point.
So yeah, it's the safest time for maybe people here in America compared to people in other places, and stuff like that. Yeah. But not even every place in America feels like the safest time to be alive for some people. It could be better or worse based on individual experience, and that's what I'm saying. That's kind of the filter or the lens that you kind of run all your information through a lot of times, which is the thing, right? Which is why we hopefully share stuff with people that we learn, information that we learn, and it gets passed down, like good knowledge gets passed down, and people do right with that stuff. And then that's how the world came to the point that it was or has, to where people were, coexisting because of the shared informations that were passed down to people. Or we just get separated, and it's like, oh, you don't look like me, we gotta like fight to the death, you know what I mean? Because that's weird and scary, and typically when that happens, somebody dies, so I need to strike first or whatever, or be able to beat you, but now we communicate, we try to talk and be cool with, like, people that are around us that aren't even anywhere near our family, that we've never seen before, but we're all coexisting all around each other very much.
Well, I mean, there's that weird meme of like a dangerous, what is it? It's gotten so overused. It's like the dangerous man is not like unskilled or
is not capable of great violence.
That one. Yeah, that quote. Yeah. That
just keep it under control.
But like is it like, I feel like that's the bigger step in what we're trying to say here, that like the fact that you are capable of it allows you to have the common discourse and have the like ability to talk to
be
somebody.
Confident,
right?
But also respectful.
Because who's the guy that's trying to fight somebody at the bar? That usually is the guy who
real recognizes real.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So if somebody can come up to you in a very, like, that's scary. If somebody's very calm and very just like, you know, I don't think that's the thing you want to do, man. What do you mean? They're like all puffed up or whatever. And it's like, no, you know, that, you know, because I just don't want to do that. And, you know, you try to diffuse it, but then that's the person that you got to worry about, is the person that doesn't want.
So on the flip side of that conversation is like saying that like, oh, well, those guys fighting that out is a good thing. Is that feeding into that guy that doesn't know anything about fighting, or whoever, guy, lady, whatever.
Every culture needs its warriors, man.
I agree. Yeah.
Every culture needs warriors.
And they have to have ways to sort things out.
And hopefully they can be scholars as well, you know, in the same way that they study more than they just are brutes.
The warrior poet.
Right. You know, yeah. I think that's the greatest, like, to me, that's like the greatest masculine energy, is when you can do both. You know, I think that's, for me, that's what I'm striving for, is to be able to do both, to be able to do what I got to do when I need to for me and mine. And then, you know, to also just be, you know, artistic with it and understand, you know, the principles of the world overall are not always exactly the way I think, you know, so I got to keep observing and seeing how they change through time. And then that's the thing, is you can see with your eyes what's happening consistently. Or if you don't have eyes, you know, sorry to say that to blind people or whatever, but like if you just see it, you know, what's your experience over and over and over again, then that's what you start believing and doing. So like, that's the way the world is. You know, some people don't ever have another experience, so they can't believe what you're talking about because they've never seen that, even if you tell them, you know. So you have to take somebody out of that and show them the way, right? So I think like jiu-jitsu is a great like example for that, like not talking about leading somebody through their life, but leading them through like a skill set or technique, you know. And then to pull it all back into what like Eddie was saying is that, and realistically, most of the time we only have like an hour a day with each person. And with most people, it's only once or twice a week, maybe on average, you know, so you only get that 1 hour once or twice a week. So what's the best and most efficient way to train them, to give them most, you know, value to their efforts of training and give them the most training possible, you know. And as a grappler, then my goal is to do that for myself, to make my job as a grappler the best and easy and most efficient way possible to do the best job for me, you know. So it's a different thing, you know what I mean? Like what's best for me may not be the best for everybody, but then some of these universal position stuff where everybody gets good at these things for themselves versus a bunch of different people, that is good for everybody, you know, because you understand it for yourself, because you've been there, you've gotten reps doing it for yourself, understanding it, but then doing it for yourself rather than doing it the way I'm telling you to do it over and over and over and over again for the whole hour and listening to me say the way I want you to do it for an hour. You get to actually do it, and I get to see where it's falling apart and try to give you live tips, like in the middle of it, you know what I mean? Maybe, or between rounds, say, hey, that time I saw you had trouble with whatever, this time maybe you should, and see if that works. And if that doesn't work, it's like, maybe we can try, you know, this, you know, next time. And so I think that's the biggest part of it. I think that you can definitely use that even in the non-competition style classes, and it gives control to the chaos for people who haven't been there much too, because they just got a lesson on this thing and now you're going to put them in the thing. And so it's like, okay, and if you need to tap, but if not, then, you know, try to do what we just taught, you know, or whatever, stuff like that. And so it gives them an understanding immediately of how to do live training, and they don't have to go immediately into like the freestyle kind of training where you see people get hurt a lot. and then they don't get to make it, you know? So there's a bunch of different ways to get to the top, you know, and nobody's always right. And no one way is the best way for everybody, you know? So, you know what I mean? That's the journey. The journey goes on, man. That's what it is. It's like, there's a lot of things that are good, and then there's better, and then there's best. And then there's what are you doing? Like, is this a championship like caliber class? Is this a, you know, friends and family class, or, you know, whatever, where it's, you know, regular people kind of just coming in? Kids, is it, you know, whatever, you know, what ages of the kids is it? Because then you can speak differently to those kids or whatever too, you know. I don't know. There's just a bunch of philosophies that go into doing this martial arts. And that's why, to me, I think it's such a worthwhile goal for almost anyone to try. Because even if your martial arts practice itself isn't that successful, the practice of practicing the martial arts will make other parts of your life that you are better at even better, you know? So you may struggle at jiu-jitsu. You may not even be that good at it or whatever, but keeping on coming and understanding the processes and like how to build off of the struggles and like figuring out how to win and, you know, to win and lose or whatever, get that resilience and stuff like that. That bleeds over into selling, you know, paint or whatever it is that you do, bread, man, whatever it is that you got to do. What, you know what I mean? That all can help you feed the overall monster of your life to be successful. So that's another thing. When people come in, you don't have to be the best in the room. You don't even have to be the best. Yeah. You know what I mean? You have to be the best in the class today or whatever. The fact that you're in there, like putting puzzles together, whatever, like that's giving you those mental maps. That's giving you those reps that are building towards something.
You don't have to win.
Yeah. You don't have to. That the win's going to come later when you have the tool. You know what I mean? That one tool that you really finally needed to get the thing that you need, you know? And then each time you need a tool, somehow you figure out a way to find it. And if you can't find it, you'll make it. You know what I mean? And then like somebody may come up to you and just like, yeah, stupid looking tool. Look at you just got this thing or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, man. I didn't even know.
You just described like my whole jiu-jitsu career.
but sometimes your thing may have even been better, but this person had never seen anything
no,
like
then
it
becomes something cool. I was jumping ahead of you in that explanation.
So, it could be either or though. You could be over here tinkering with this thing for so long, and it's like, man, you're just wasting time for sure, and it's just not going to work. And then sometimes it's like, proved you wrong. You know, mine is actually better than yours, and that's when people get, you know, new technologies surpass old technologies, and that happens in jiu-jitsu or whatever the case is.
Life,
you know, everything, you know, anything whatsoever. And so that's the thing. There's always competition, and I think that's good. I think you need to compete, and I think jiu-jitsu gives you that. I think fighting as a general idea is the thing that people do. We're always battling something in a lot of ways, like people are as a metaphor or whatever for their lives or stuff like that. And then some people need to physically get that stuff out. They need to get that physical like fight out somehow in a controlled setting though, because otherwise they'll use that to hurt themselves or someone else in a non-controlled environment, you know. Learning how to channel those thoughts of like either or superior, whatever, or like inferiority, learning to channel either of those to make them powerful for you instead of a thing that hurts you, you know, because some people feel too confident about themselves and get served and can't recover. And some people feel not confident enough and can't recover. But the people who find the balance of that, because it's going to happen to you either way. Like you're going to get beat up by somebody, even if you're the best, you know, because you weren't the best on your way up. So that's the thing. There's not going to be a time where a person comes through without that experience. Does that automatically make them a good person? No. Does it immediately make them somebody you could trust? No. There's going to be people that get through that are still con artists or bad people or whatever. But in a general sense, it's going to make good people better, and people who want to be good better. Everything has bad actors, but martial arts, man, whichever ones you want to do, honestly, can give you some degree of what you're looking for. So start small and build up. Maybe you don't need to jump into the highest level rooms right away to get started. Maybe you do, though. Maybe you're that person that needs to go, right to the top.
Even the highest level rooms, though, even the highest level guys, they know how. Okay, some, not all, but most of your high level guys know how to deal with a day one. So if you're going in and you're a day one and you live in San Diego and you happen to wander into,
most of them were day one.
They were day one at one point.
So, but that's the thing. Then that's the culture. It comes down to where you tell people that you're not just here to hurt and kill people when they come in. New people.
Build,
work on. Get work. Show them what's up, but don't you don't have to kill them per se. Unless you need to, then you can kill them.
I don't have that much killing a day one. That much. Whoa, that wasn't the whole sentence. I don't have that much fun killing day ones.
Not anymore.
I would rather now. Don't get me wrong. I love me a good white belt, but the day one, somebody who doesn't know anything, I'd rather teach you something.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times that's the case. It's just not even fun. It's not even like sport.
Yeah, you're
anymore.
Yeah. I want you to be able to defend yourself. Now, come at me in about 3 weeks.
I'm trying to think about when that happened, because there was a time when it wasn't the case, where you could.
It's when I started training with you, so that was 3 years ago for me, 2 years ago, ish, somewhere in there.
It's weird, and I don't know if it's MMA or whatever that is, that mindset. That's what I'm saying. A fight is a fight. Jiu Jitsu, a little bit different than a fight, but you do need to know how to fight.
Yeah.
In case people want to fight you. So
it's helpful to know.
Yeah. So what time is it? I feel like I'm running out of stuff.
I feel like you're at the end of your line today.
Yeah, that's it. I want to thank everybody that's watched this at all ever. That's the only reason I do it, and I like doing it. So that's why we keep doing it. Thank you to Musgrove Trial Firm, 678-226-1994. I don't even know why I looked over there. I still know it, but I just felt like
I think I can make a super cut of you looking to your right.
678-226-1994. Musgrove Trial Firm. Hit them up. Call them up. Tell them I said to do it. That's all we got right now.
Yeah. And then we got the tournament coming up.
Mid-South Classic, January 29th.
PGF,
January 9th through the 15th. But we are looking for some people who maybe want to sponsor the tournament in the Mid-South. We got a couple bonuses we might like to give away. We'll get you a lot of press. Listen, we've had in the tournament, now Combat Jiu-Jitsu World's Champion, Ryan Aiken's been in there. So if your business sponsored whatever that was, his matches still get looked at a lot by people who are studying. Please don't make me take them down.
That's not how that works.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Just joking. But that's what I'm saying. So, but for your business, that you get perpetual views and stuff like that. So maybe you'll be interested in that kind of stuff, because we're looking to bring in legit guys that are on their way up to compete and take a bunch of money home. $2,000 is a bunch of money to me. So I would fight these dudes, but I'm not a purple belt anymore. So, I got my first degree black belt.
Oh yeah.
By the way.
Hey, I don't have that. I meant to have the.
That was cool, man. It was that's nice to be recognized, in a situation like that. So really proud to be a part of the 10th Planet system. Just to say that, really proud to be a part of the system, and for the guys that did a lot of the hard work before me, then I'm proud to help try to carry the load and be a part of the future going forward to make sure that they didn't put their efforts out there in vain, because we all are going to reach that point where, we are not the new generation. Somebody else is the new generation now. So just trying to make sure that we represent the way that we're supposed to represent, and handling business, for 10th Planet. And so just really proud to be a part of this association and the people that it represents. So yeah, that's it, man. Much love to everybody. Peace.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines. 1, 2,